All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's time to check on our rock tumbler again. So let's go ahead and get started. As always, this is a 12-pound rock tumbler. So we've got about 12 pounds worth of chert and quartz and other stuff in here. All right. Let's see. Oop, one more. To spin off. There we go. So everything looks pretty good in there. The lid off to the side. We dump it into this big barrel. There we go. So we start spraying to clean it off. Hey, King Donta, good to see you. Yeah, I've been on at weird times the last few weeks. Let's see, let me make sure. Yeah, there we go. All right, we got sound working. No issues this time. Wow. Finally getting used to this new camera, I guess. Some of these are going to be fun to look at. All right, that should be good and clean. Bring it over to my table. Nice. Range a bit. Ta-da! Let's see. Let's zoom out a little bit. Or put the camera up a little higher. And there we go. Let's see. Okay, so let's start looking drunk. Hey, what's that, Andy? Feedback on what? Sure, I would be happy to. Ah. Okay, so start things off. Make sure I can see what I'm doing. Alright. Ah, okay, there we go. Maybe a little better. Okay, so to start things off, let's start with some of our quartz. So this one is very jagged still. Hmm. Let's zoom in maybe. Yeah, so this one's still very jagged, but this is one of those milky pieces that I find just wandering around my neighborhood. So this one's looking nice. You can see there's still plenty of these darker areas, or not darker, these rougher areas that certainly need more time. So this will stay in. I always love the way these turn out when they're finally done. There are just so many air pockets in this milky quartz that can take a while. But here's one that looks like it's probably ready to move on. So let's see why. So you can see there's some spots here that are not perfect, but it looks like they go maybe pretty deep into the rock. So I'm just going to let the second stage sort of smooth them out rather than spend too much time in the tumbler. So that one's going to go in its special pile to remind me it's about done. So here's some more milky quartz. Oh, here's a milky quartz. It's basically done. Hmm. Well, this side does still have some. I just want to get rid of this yellowing. So I'm going to put that in another week. And of course, for those of you that are not as patient, I do have a bunch of shorts where I show what the rock looked like when I just put it in, and then what it looked like after a week, and then maybe after a few weeks, and then what it looks like in the end. Here's a really good example of some of these milky quartz with red iron staining lines. So this is one. Again, there's some imperfections up there, but I'm going to move it along anyway. Yeah, so you can see there's pretty deep fractures and holes all over this one. So I put in a bunch of new milky quartz from my neighborhood with those red iron staining this past week. So we should see a bunch of those. So here's another one. It's been in here a couple weeks, I think. And this area I think can get better. So I'm gonna keep it in. We can clean this off a little better. This one looks pretty cool. So once it smooths out after another week or so, maybe these are some pretty deep crevices. So maybe 2 to 3 weeks left with this one. I think this is going to be a cool one. Definitely one to keep an eye on. I'm going to try and get all those milky quartz out of the way to start with. And if anyone has questions about them later, we can always go back. So this is a cool one. Still lots of holes though. This one, I wish this area were material that could actually polish because it's really pretty colors. If you're enjoying, be sure to give me a like. Let YouTube know you enjoy it. It helps the channel out. This one that's pretty far along. It's been in here a couple weeks. I think this area here could probably use some more work. Let's see. Okay, you can see there's some areas that can use more work. I do have a saw, and so some of these, sometimes I will cut them down just to make it faster. Looks like some of these have more of a like squared off shape to them. So I cut them at some point. Hey, Yvette. Yeah. What sort of rocks do you collect, Yvette? So this one, it's probably as good as it's going to get. So this is a nice milky white. It's very generic. We have lots and lots and lots of it here. But that's a nice one just because it all kind of stayed together, which is, it's not filled with fractures or any staining like this milky quartz that's just covered in stains. This one's a little more clear. It's not as deep of a white. It's got those holes, but those holes aren't going away. So off to the next pile. So this one's much clearer. At this side, you can see the light kind of shows you it's rough still here. So I'll give it another week. Ooh, this one has really fun striations or lines or whatever. Hi, Lana. Good to see you. So that iron staining is really pretty here. I just need this side to kind of smooth out. Here's another one. Really pretty iron staining. I'm going to move it along even though this edge is not perfect. Got any more of my milky quartz before we move on to the next? Here we go. I think this is our last milky quartz piece that is very ugly, but who knows? After a few weeks, it might be pretty. So next, let's look at these big chunks of quartzite that I cut. So these I got in Nelson County, Virginia. Pretty cool rocks. They have a lot of, well, not that many fractures really. I guess there's this one big one here. And this gray is something, I may take these and cut a little slab, especially with this face, and just make some necklaces out of this one by hand, or with my machines instead of tumbling. And then this one I'll probably just keep tumbling. All right, here's some more quartzite type stuff that I got in Nelson County. This one I think is ready to move on. It's got this hole here, so I'm hoping the vibratory tumbler will kind of smooth out that hole on the inside a little bit. But it's pretty deep, and I don't want to spend way too much time with it rolling around in here. Hi, Sinraya, and hi, Abdi, and Celia. Good to see all of you. Let's see. So this came from the same type of rock from Nelson County. And I really like that I've kept kind of a natural shape to it. So right around here, there we go. You can see it's not quite perfect. I don't know. Do I give it one more week? I'll put it in my movie pile. Maybe it's one more week. And then more of that quartzite, again from Nelson County. This one's got a much sandier color to it. I mean, it's cool. It's not like super pretty or special, but hey, Jojo. Lazurite. Cool. So this is a pretty neat piece of quartz. I'll give it another week because it does have some spots. Or I guess that's quartzite. Oh, look, here's another one of those iron-stained milky quartz. Hmm. All right, so this is the one, the pink and green rock that has all the fractures. It's not rounding out very well. I think it had too many fractures to it. Hey, Eric, yeah, I tumbled all these rocks. So they've been in here, some of them weeks, some of them just a week or two. It's another, like a sandy quartzite. It's got this spot. Need some more time. Ooh, this one's ready, I think. Yep. So it's nice and smooth all the way around, which is what I'm looking for. And this one has a really fun mix of colors, some sort of quartzite. So I'm excited for this one. So that one's going to go in my batch that's ready to move on to the next stage. You may have seen, I posted a video, I guess a week ago today, where I took a piece of like a pink quartzite and I cut some slabs and I made some little cabochons. So these were the outer edges of that bigger rock. Yeah, it was just these two. But I decided I'd go ahead and just tumble them. This one's coming along. It's got some rough spots though. So it gets another week. And then the bigger piece also some rough spots, so we'll give it a little more time. And that one was from Elkton. So this is interesting. So last week I wasn't sure about it because it felt still very grainy along the edges. But I put it back in for another week just to see what would happen. And it feels much less grainy. I definitely am comfortable moving this one along to the next stage this time. So that doesn't always happen. Sometimes the rock is just going to be grainy all the way through, and it will just never take a good polish. This one is similar, but still feels grainy. So I'll give it another week. So this is a fun one. I made some cabochons out of this as well. This is the leftover piece. Are the rocks precious? They're precious to me. These are not precious stones, or probably even considered semi-precious. Um, these are just random rocks that I pick up and tumble. So this one's got this really cool red and some blues and greens, probably maybe some from Epidote. This side needs a little longer though. So that'll go back in the barrel. And that was something I got in Elkton here in Virginia. Hmm. Haha, I thought I had another piece of that. So here you can see this one has more of the red, which is really cool. I'm going to give it another week because this side still has, you can see it here. This side still has plenty of rough spots that need a little more time. Here's a big piece of chert that I keep hoping will finish, and it's still not finished. Maybe I'll do it by hand because I really like the way it looks right now, and I don't want to lose anything. But there's some spots that need a little bit of. Some spots are still rough, some deep cracks that I need to deal with. So I'm going to set that one aside and do that by hand. Hi, Priya. Here is a very generic, and I say that in the nicest way, piece of chert. So it's kind of a grayish brown. It's lots of little lines where it's cracked. This is one I'll probably. Hmm. This is one that could use one more week, depending on how many more rough rocks I have that I'm ready to add. That one might get one more week, or it might move on. So it's just about there. This is one of those. So this whole area was filled in with a much softer rock. So the softer rock has gone. Um, so hopefully this will smooth out a bit and it'll look interesting. Another that green and pink quartzite stuff. Hi, Mahai. It's a fun piece of chert. It's probably only been in here a week because it's still very jagged. But I always love the way chert turns out. It's such fun patterns. This is a very big piece of chert that has been in here a couple of weeks. I'll give it some more time. It's got lots of cracks. And then another piece of chert. This was cut off of that one we just looked at. This was cut off of it too. So hopefully these won't take quite as long. This has only been in here 1 week. It's really looking nice. Unfortunately, I don't think I took a video of what it looked like before I put it in. That's too bad. Could have made a fun short from it. So these two I cut in half. So let's see what it looked like. This maybe? So that's why they both have sides that are perfect and sides that are not. So that's just more chert. I think this rock is pretty soft. It feels, you can tell it's not wearing evenly. So like along here, this bump, these raised up areas are all rocks with a higher Mohs hardness that are not wearing away as fast. Let's see. This is a neat little, I don't know, some sort of metabasalt. It's still got a crack there, but I'm going to move it on because it's thin. I don't want it all to wear away. It's just a generic piece of quartz. It's got a deep hole in it, so it'll be going back. Some more of that quartzite. Hasn't been in here very long, so it's not, still got some natural shape to it. This is the same sort of material. So this is from Potomac, Maryland, Bethesda area. So it's got this side here that does have a hole, but most of it looks perfect. So I'm going to clean up around that hole by hand so that I can move it on to the next stage. And then here we've got another piece that's very similar. This one I think is ready to move on. It's also from Potomac. This is from Potomac too. So all these, most of the quartz that's left should be from Potomac. So that one needs more time. Let's see, here's a good one. Could use a little more time. See, up here is really where I'm worried. I think I'll give that one more week. This one I haven't known what to do with. It's got a lot of cracks, but they obviously run all the way through it. So there's only so much you can do to make it smooth all the way around. I may try throwing it into stage 2 and see what happens with it. Ooh, this one's perfect, just about. Yeah, it's got some little, sorry. It's got some little indents there, but mostly it's good. I'll put that in my maybe pile. It's another one. You can see there's a crack that runs all the way through, right along here. So I'm going to put that, move it along to stage 2. Let's finish up with those little quartz pieces. Then we can move back to the chert. So this one has some very rough areas, so it definitely needs another week. Oh, this is one of the, I missed the milky quartz piece earlier. And again, for those of you who are watching who haven't already heard, I do have a lot of videos, like short videos, where I show like before and after of rocks as they go through the polishing process. You may find those interesting. So be sure to check out my profile and watch some of those. Here's some more quartzite. This is like a semi-translucent, I don't know, chalcedony maybe. It's got some holes, so one more week with you. Let's see. I think this one's about as good as it's ever going to get. You can see there's a crack there. But for the most part, it's nice and smooth. So I'll put in my pile of stuff that's ready. This black rock. These have a tendency to fracture very badly. So this is definitely as good as it's going to get in stage 1. But I'm going to just go ahead and move it. This one, though, it's very similar, but still has some work to do. I love when Chert still has these leftover rings of limestone color in them. So these are always fun. But that one's not ready to move on yet. No, I have fun just tumbling them myself. Thank you for the offer. Here's another piece of chert. It's been in here a very, very long time. This one's got some little cracks in it. So it's going back in. This one might be ready. It's got this little crack over here. Hmm, I'll put that in my maybe pile. Some more chert. Here's another piece of that quartzite that has the weird green, but this one doesn't have really fractures in it. So I like this one. I'm gonna move that on. Hey, welcome. Yes, rocks, rocks, rocks. This one obviously still needs some more time, but it looks pretty cool. Here's another piece of quartzite you can see. So this whole area right here is probably just gonna chip off. Hopefully it comes out in this next round. Yeah, sure. If you go to my profile page, you can see I have a PO box listed there where you can send stuff. So yeah, absolutely. If you've got something you think would be fun, I can tumble it and make a video, or I can cut it and make a necklace out of it or whatever for a video. Always happy to do that. Some of these are pretty close. Let's see. Here's one. So this is one that I'm going to move on, slightly imperfect, just because you can see there's all sorts of fractures in it, and I don't want to lose the rock with those fractures breaking. Piece of chert, pretty good. This might be one that I put through stage 2 twice, just to really make sure I'm getting in and smoothing out these little holes. But I think it's ready for stage 2. Diamonds are really pretty. I would love to be able to find a diamond someday. I think that'd be fun. This one, so it's definitely quartz on the inside, but it's like sandwiched in between chert, it looks like. That's kind of cool. Wish it were smoother. Then move it on. Let's see. Oh, here's some more fun chert. Hi, Aurora. Yes, I love going out and finding rocks on my own. That's probably what I'm going to do this afternoon. My dog and I will go out and look for some new rocks to fill up my rock tumblers. This little piece of quartzite's kind of cute. I'm going to move it along. Let's see. Yeah, just about done for the day. Going through these. None of these seems too interesting. Nothing I want to talk about with them. So let's see. Next, let's look at a few rocks that I've finished tumbling recently. And so this first one I've made a video of already, and you may have seen it, but it's this huge piece of chert that I tumbled. I think it came out really nice, really pretty. Let's see. Yeah. So it has this cool, like, swirling pattern up here that I really like. And this is one of the bigger rocks that I've ever tumbled. It's about like this size. And I've got this one. I may have shown this one before. I have absolutely no idea what it is. It looks very metallic, the blue areas. But then it's also got like a translucent, quartzy looking area to it. So this is one of my favorites that I've ever found. Got a whole video about this sort of rock coming up. Some Petersburg granite that I tried tumbling. It came out okay, but granite tends to have little pock marks all over it, unfortunately, if you tumble it. And then these. So this was a cabochon that I made, and I made a video about it. And I finally finished tumbling the other rocks that were with it. Let's see. It's got some really cool patterns. It still has some holes, but I really like this rock. And then this one has like a cool spider web. You can see kind of up here, there's little bits of quartz that filled in a hole in the chert, which is cool. The back, unfortunately, has some holes, but I love those. What's that? $100 for what? Let's see. Some of these we may have looked at last week, but I'll go ahead and show them again. I've got some cool pieces of quartz that are stained, that have finished. I like this one quite a bit. Zoom out a little. There we go. So this is a nice, pretty piece of quartz. You really want to pay that much for it? So this one is really cool. Got it in Albemarle County. Just a nice little quartz. Very translucent. Sure. I will take 135. I always love Chert that has these blue and reds. Oh, thank you, Julia. I definitely do want to put some of these on Etsy. I haven't figured out the best way to sell them. Oh, yeah. Here's a blue one. It's just in time. Um, I don't have too much blue, really. But yeah, there's some. And the Petersburg granite was kind of blue. Ah, the light got real bright there for a second. So, yes, thank you guys for watching this week's edition of our show. Yes, I tumble rocks. I have lots and lots of videos where I'm tumbling rocks, uh, cutting rocks open, hunting for rocks. So please, please, please do check out my profile. Give some of those a watch. I would really appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.